Rise. Rise like the sun, relentless and unapologetic. Stand firm in your value. Hold your frame, unshaken and unbroken. Keep building. Stay focused. Let your actions speak for themselves. Because in the end, it's not the man who begs for validation who is remembered. It's the one who chooses discipline over chaos, silence over reaction, and who rises above it all. That's the warrior's way. That's the way of the Stoic. The man who doesn't chase. The man who elevates. The man who is unforgettable. The pain, the confusion, the heartache, Kate, was never meant to break you. It was never meant to make you crumble. No, it was the wake-up call. It was the trigger that awakened the warrior inside you. The warrior who doesn't flinch when life strikes. The warrior who doesn't run after what has already left. The warrior who understands that strength lies not in clinging to what you cannot control, but in rising above it with grace and power. This is not about being a weak man who longs for her return. This is not about pleading, begging, or scrambling to put things back together. This is about shedding the old skin of dependency, of neediness, of insecurity. You've stopped chasing after someone who no longer sees your worth. You've stopped begging for the crumbs of affection she offered. Instead, you have become the man who commands his own life, his emotions, his decisions, his destiny. When you stop chasing, you stop being predictable. You stop playing by the rules of a game that no longer serves you. No longer will you be that man who gets caught in the emotional web, who runs after fleeting moments of affection, hoping they'll fill the empty space. Instead, you've embraced your silence, your solitude, your inner peace. You've stopped reacting to the chaos she tried to create. And in that stillness, in that unshakable foundation, you found the strength to let her go. You have become the man who doesn't need anyone to validate his existence. This is where the transformation happens. When you stop reacting, when you stop being emotionally tethered to her presence, you become a mystery. You stop playing the game. You stop begging for answers. You stop searching for closure. You become the kind of man whose presence is felt even in his absence. Your life no longer revolves around her. Your worth is no longer defined by her love or rejection. And that, my friend, is what makes you unforgettable. Because when you stop needing someone, you become rare. When you stop begging, you stop being ordinary. You rise above the noise and the drama. You step into your own power and you begin to radiate an energy that is magnetic. You stop being predictable, and that's when the power shifts. You see, most people, most men, when faced with rejection, fall into desperation. They overthink, they chase, they waste their energy trying to hold on to something that's slipping through their fingers. But you have learned that true strength lies in letting go, in walking away from what no longer serves you. You have learned that walking away doesn't mean weakness, it means wisdom. It means knowing your worth. And in doing so, you gain something far more valuable than her attention. You gain your own self-respect. you learn to stand tall on your own with no crutch of validation needed from anyone. This is no longer about making her regret leaving you. That is a side effect, a mere byproduct of the man you're becoming. Because, in truth, you don't need her to regret it. You don't need her at all. The woman who walked away, the one who thought she could push you aside, doesn't realize what she's lost. But what's even more powerful is that you no longer care. You no longer wait for her to see your worth, to realize what she had. Because the man you are now is not one who chases validation or approval. The man you've become doesn't need her to validate his success, his worth, or his growth. Instead, you rise in silence. You hold your ground with stoic discipline, with a quiet confidence that is unwavering. You become unshakable. You learn to stand firm in your own value, to never settle for anything less than what you know you deserve. You become the man who doesn't run after drama or empty promises. You become the man who commands his own life, who builds his future with or without anyone by his side. And that is what makes you the mystery. The more you remain steady in your silence, the more she will wonder. She will wonder what's changed. She will wonder how you've managed to rise above everything. She will wonder how she could have let someone like you slip away. And as time passes, she'll begin to see the truth. She'll see the strength you've built, the power you've cultivated, and the man you've become. But by then, it will be too late. You see, when you stop needing someone, when you stop giving them the power to dictate your emotions or your worth, you become something they can never forget. You become the one that got away, not because you tried to leave, but because you learned that your peace was worth more than any temporary connection. You became the one who didn't chase love, didn't beg for closure, didn't crumble when things fell apart. Instead, you were the one who stood tall, unshaken by the chaos around you. And that's when she will feel it, the void, the absence, the realization that she lost someone who was never truly hers to lose. She'll feel the power shift, and she won't be able to understand it, because most people expect others to fall apart, to lose themselves in the aftermath of a breakup. They expect reactions, anger, pain, begging, but you didn't give her that. You didn't react. And that silence, that absence, will haunt her in ways she never anticipated. It's not about revenge. It's not about proving a point. It's about you becoming the man who no longer needs anyone to define him. It's about you stepping into the power of your own existence and realizing that the only approval you need is your own. When you stop seeking validation from others, when you stop chasing after what doesn't want you, you will become something far more powerful. You will become yourself. And that, my friend, is what pulls her back. Not because you wanted her back, but because you have become a force she can't ignore. You've become the kind of man who doesn't beg for anyone's love. And in that strength, in that independence, you've made yourself unforgettable. She'll never be able to forget the man who didn't need her. And that's your true power.